What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Crafty coming at you with today's Let's Play video featuring Borderlands 2 to conclude our 5th casual gaming weekend. Now, if you're new to this series, this is pre-recorded gameplay with live narration, now featuring me in person and not just an audio cover. Now, what we're going to be going over today is my personal distaste for this particular mission, but as well my overall love for the game and why, like the pros and, maybe a couple of the cons on what could have been improved on to make it truly amazing, besides how amazing it already is. And then after that, we will be going over some what the studio's about, our goals, and just some differences between some familiar playlists on the channel so you guys don't have any confusion there, as this is a bit of a longer video today. So without any further delay, let's jump straight into it. So first off, as I mentioned, we're going to be going over my personal distaste for this mission. The reason why I'm not a big fan of it, for those of you who already know what mission I'm on, in the Wildlife Reservation, here it is. Bloodwing and her death. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the franchise, Bloodwing is a bird companion from the first game for the sniper Mordecai, who returned in this game along with Mordecai has an NPC, still his companion and everything else. But in Borderlands 1, I genuinely mained Mordecai, and I grew a little bit of an attachment to Bloodwing as a gamer's perspective, as I utilized her and all of her upgrades to the maximum. She was absolutely amazing to play with in Borderlands 1. It was awesome having that kind of companionship, and especially when you're playing by yourself, and how useful she was. And in this game, in this mission, she dies. And I don't hate the game for it, or even the story writers, because it's pretty bold to be able to do that. And when they can actually bring out an emotional anger, sadness, stuff like that when it comes to death, you know that they did the death right in a sense, because it means that they got that emotion out of you. You didn't just go, oh well, whatever, they're dead. It made you go, oh no, and that is something that I applaud the writers on, that they got that from me. I literally boycotted Borderlands 2 for 2 weeks because of her death. I just stopped playing, and I love Borderlands 2. It's one of my top 10 games still to this day. It's absolutely amazing to play with yourself, with friends. It's just awesome. And the reason for this is, well, before we get into that, I want to touch on her death a little bit first. So the reason why I'm a bit of a hater on it is, what happens is, as you'll see in this video, you come across her when you're trying to track her down. She's gigantic now, as she's been experimented on by the main villain here, Handsome Jack, with the new experimental element known as slag. And what this caused is for her to be able to adapt to different environmental conditions and become part of that environment. So like, he lights her on fire, makes her electric, makes her corrosive, and the whole time he's saying, oh, I can't remember what the last one is, So he managed to get her tranquilized on her final stage, and what winds up happening is you go to remove the chip from her collar, because you need the chip for the AI robot known as Claptrap. And what winds up happening is then Handsome Jack comes on saying, oh, I remember the final element, explosive. And while he's saying that, the shock collar blows her head off, literally. And she's dead. And it's a death you kind of saw coming, because the collar kind of sticks out a little bit. And it sucks. It sucks so much to have somebody who I had a personal connection with die, especially in that way. But I mean, at the same time, it is a death, and it made total sense for the game and to show off Handsome Jack's character. So I can't say it was badly written or any of that. I just, god damn it, did not want to see Bloodwing die. I mean, for example, there's another character that does die, a main character, and I could honestly care less. It was a surprise to see him die that way. It was like, holy crap. But that was about the initial shock value. It wasn't like, oh no, he's dead. It was more like, okay, let's go on. And that's about it. And then, again, nothing negative there. It's just I didn't have a personal connection with that character, so I didn't feel that. Now other characters would be the same way, and vice versa with that character in Bloodwing. They might say, oh, I didn't care about Bloodwing, but that character's death moved me. So again, both deaths completely well written, but for me personally, I had a personal connection to Bloodwing, and that's why it stood out for me quite a bit, and I boycotted the game for 2 weeks. Now, why do I love Borderlands 2 so much? Well, honestly, there's a lot of reasons. So for starters, my personal review for it, I would have to score it at a 10 out of 10. Now, this doesn't mean it's perfect. I will never make a game perfect ever here because I don't believe in that. But it's a 10 out of 10, has a solid masterpiece for what Gearbox was going for. They delivered it in such a fashion that you had to applaud them. It's something that Destiny wishes it could have came up to, and it failed miserably. Borderlands 2 has a gripping, moving, and intense story that's also comedic throughout the whole time, but does not fail to pull you in and make you feel emotional connections. It develops their characters well. It produced one of, to me, the most iconic standalone video game villains ever. You love to hate the main villain. He's absolutely well written, awesome, hilarious at the best of times, and an asshole. And they really showcased that. The writers did an amazing job here with that. And after this, you also have a decent customization system, mostly in the fact that you can change your colors with quite a large selection. And you also have a lot of different kind of heads to change your appearance with. However, the only thing that was lacking, I would have liked to see outfits. Maybe male and female versions of the class you're choosing, which I think would have been really cool. But other than that, I mean, the customization was pretty good for that. Because, again, it's a first-person shooter. You don't really need a lot going into it. But it's awesome that they had it there. And definitely deserves that notion. Now, after that, you also have a bit of an open world. I wouldn't say it's like what we have now with Ghost Recon or Zelda Breath of the Wild or Skyrim or any of that. But it is, in its sense, an open world. It is well crafted. All of the side missions... Well, maybe not all of them, but most of the side missions provide hilarious comedic relief or even their own intense firefights and story-driven content there. Every side mission I've played, at least, has genuinely been worthwhile to do. Even the ones that were kind of boring and annoying, they kept the pace moving along nicely where it didn't feel like a chore the whole time. Now, as well, you go into the loot system, and Borderlands 2 for me has one of the best loot systems ever for video games. Now, I don't mean that like it's in the top 5, but it's definitely up there. I would even give it the top 5 spot, honestly, in there somewhere. It rivals that of even Diablo, which is very famous for its loot system. Far outshines Destiny, if you want to compare it to that. It's so well done in how they did it. Every gun feels amazing in its own right. That what they're trying to make that gun do, that gun does it well if you get good with it, especially. And there's just a lot of guns that are fun. There's one gun that the only thing that makes it legendary is the fact that it screams, and it's hilarious. And then there's the Infinity Pistol where it shoots infinitely, and you've got shields and grenades and class mods and little relics and guns. You get 4 guns on your character. It's just awesome the way they did the loot system and how they kept it going. Then you have well-made DLCs. Even the worst one of the bunch, which to me is Hammerlocks, is still good. Every DLC was awesome, especially that last Dungeon and Dragons themed one, which was just hilarious to play. It was well done, and surprisingly enough had a very impactful storyline, which you really weren't expecting at all when they did it, and they did it very well, especially towards the end. This game is something that I recommend to go out and buy, especially if you play with your friends and you enjoy co-op and just getting together. It is a fun, action-packed experience that also provides a lot of laughs, especially if you turn up your dialogue volume or even put on the subtitles. Pay attention to them because they are funny and worth noting. Now, with all of that said, let's jump into some personal R&R here. So first off, the studio, what we're about is mainly gaming reviews, providing honest reviews from a gamer's perspective for gamers, because the market has become so bloody expensive this day that I'm sick of I'm sick of seeing all these biased and sellout reviews where they're giving games that are like a 5, a 9, or an 8 and calling it good. Basically what this means is they're relying on the number to sell and not the wording and what they did. And then you'll go into a review that is super short, barely touches on anything, gives it like an 8 out of 10, and used a lot of big wording. And I'm a critic, and I'd be like, what? I'd have to go to a thesaurus and see what that word meant. And that's ridiculous. So this is here to provide you with honest reviews, which then we go into, of course, our discussions, our how to build on YouTube, our conversations, our Let's Play videos, and our updates, as well as planned videos down the road when we're full-time, which is really exciting for us, and I'm not going to spoil too much of it. But, now what are the differences here? Well, really not a lot. So Let's Play videos, you already know what they're like. It's this. Obviously a little bit more focused on the gaming when they're shorter, but today's a lengthier topic, so we're going into that. But as well, when it comes into, say, our discussions to our conversations, discussions are to focus on games primarily. Sometimes they'll go a little bit off into geeky stuff or something related to a game, but generally they're to focus on games, ways to improve, reasons why this game should be made into a sequel, stuff like that. Especially after review, we like to try and focus them on like a bit of a personal opinion after review came out on why we maybe didn't like it from a more personal perspective, because we like to keep our reviews professional, as we said. So if there's a bit of a personal hate there, love there, that's when we like to talk about it, is in those videos. Now with the conversations, they go in gaming, but not as games, more as the gaming industry, stuff that affects it, pre-orders we mentioned collector's editions, stuff like that. But we also like to talk about geek culture, so movies, comics, anything that we can think of, and as well, YouTube. So we did a video on PewDiePie, for example, and going over the controversy surrounding him. Now, that's about it. We do have our Wednesday update videos as well, which just lets you know what happened at the end of the previous week, what's going on the current week, and what you can look forward to at the beginning of the next week. And that's just to keep you guys in touch. And yeah, it's about our videos. Our Crafty reviews come out, you know, on the following Friday or second Friday after a major game's release, if we can afford it. And yeah, so far that's where we're at right now. Now as well, let's get to our shoutouts. Now I have to read them here because of the spelling on them, but we have Vampershi Gaming, Black Rage Madness, That Dude Man Guy, Big Wiz, Rob K. Simo, No Accuracy, and Danny Lincoln. So those are our shoutouts today, a little faster than normal, but again, I can barely read that, and I am out of time. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content of this video, as well as share it amongst your friends and peers if they'd be interested in our content, and be sure to also check out our other videos and see all those different playlists. This is Crafty signing off, so you guys have a wonderful Sunday, stay tuned in, and of course, stay crafty.